our ranking system, aren't the buttholes good? Like good, like guilty pleasure good? Or does the more buttholes mean the movie's bad?
Yeah.
So we give it 3 buttholes out of 5, then it means it's really bad. If it's 5 out of 5 buttholes, then it's
that's like Morbius.
It's
5 out of 5
horrendous.
buttholes.
It's very shitty.
Dude, I didn't even finish Morbius. I started watching it, and then like about halfway through, I was like, I don't give a fuck, and I just stopped it. I even started to watch that Kurt Warner movie. What was it called? Comeback or something, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
With
Underdog,
Shazam.
whatever it's called. Yeah, Shazam. I started watching it about 30 minutes in. I don't give a fuck. Turned it off. Sorry, Anna Paquin. The Anna Paquin wig, man.
Rubbing off on you, dude. Rubbing off on you, dude.
The
I never normally do that,
is rubbing off.
I just realized I don't have time. As one said, I flipped back on The Boys and I started watching that. Quality entertainment. Needed to bounce it out.
You didn't even get to the shitty fight sequence in Morbius.
Yeah, this movie shouldn't have spun off of the Spider-Man franchise, I'll tell you that. But welcome back to Not a Strong Start, a movie podcast by filmmakers that love to talk movies, television, and how bad Morbius was. I am your host, Red-Eyed Daniel.
Ramos. Yeah, my last name is just doing a spin-off on its own.
Yeah, I'm just fucking tired. We're recording for anybody listening this morning. We're recording a little bit earlier today for Jose, who's 3 hours ahead, and me and Dan have not acclimated yet to.
No, because we're actually recording live on our 4 a.m. drop. This is 4 a.m.
But by the way, by early, almost lunchtime. That's early, almost lunchtime. It's almost noon over there.
And just a scotch behind brunch. So in this week's episode, we're going to talk about spinoffs. First of all, let's do our current event.
Something that I read about earlier today. So it looks like
Ryan been up for like 5 hours. Something I read earlier today, and I'm like, earlier today was like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I got up at like 9 a.m. this morning, so I've been up for a while.
Which is 6 a.m. over here, which was like my REM sleep. All right, I interrupted you. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You're that guy. You that guy.
So I read earlier that Ryan Gosling has joined the line of actors who are supposedly interested in MCU roles, and supposedly he is interested in playing Ghost Rider at some point. You guys thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if Ryan Gosling says he wants to do it, like wants that role, I mean, they're going to give it to him, right? I mean, to my knowledge, do they have anybody attached? Like, has it been in development at all?
I've heard a lot of rumors, but nothing really solid. I know there's been multiple people attached to it, but it's all fan-based. We haven't heard anything officially from Disney itself.
Like who's been attached?
I don't even know.
Or fan attached.
I mean, I know fans were wanting Nicolas Cage to be attached to it again. He's one of the people
to come back.
People were like, "Yeah, bring Nicolas Cage back." Some fans have wanted the guy who played him in their TV series, in the Marvel TV series that they had, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They had a Ghost Rider there. So I know he's one of them too. But I mean, I don't know. If Ryan Gosling wants to play him, I feel confident enough in his acting ability that it's like, fucking give it to him.
And his driving ability in the movie Drive.
True.
So, yeah, I can see it, man. I like Ryan Gosling. I think he's a good actor. You know what I mean? Have you guys seen the new pictures of the Barbie movie with him as Ken? I don't know, man. Here's the weird part for me. Originally, Barbie was supposed to be, it was going to be Amy Schumer. You guys heard about that? It was going to be Amy Schumer first. She ended up having a disagreement about the direction of the movie, and then went Margot Robbie. Two very extreme, polar opposite actresses.
One fits the demographic or the look of what Barbie is always supposed to be. The other one is more thinking outside the box.
They went from the butthole rating score to badass rating score.
Yeah. What's that movie even going to be about anyway?
I don't know. We're definitely not the demographic for that movie.
No, I think it has to do. I read a little synopsis of his character where it says where he was basically describing about how he's broke. They're placed in the real world, I think, or something like that, and they're broke. They're not famous, so I think we see how they adapt something maybe. I don't know.
So is it that they got transferred into the real world? So now they're like human, or they already existed? Like this is the Barbie world and they're existing in there. They have no genitalia.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. So it could either be where they go into the real world, or when they say real world, maybe it's like that they were living in a life of luxury and now they're having to live down in the streets with us peasants. That's the only thing I could think of.
That really sounds entertaining. I do feel with Ryan Gosling, I feel like he's good at picking projects. But yeah, I don't think this is for us. I don't think it's
maybe it's for his kids or something. Maybe he's like, oh, my kids will like this when they're older. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. So
some actors do that. They're like, I did it for my kids.
Well, he did Blade Runner 2049 for his kids.
Really?
Made up facts.
Oh, shit.
Here's another Nas made up fact.
You know what? I swear, I'm not just saying it. I wouldn't have fell for that at like 5 p.m. But right now, I was like,
oh yeah,
yeah. This kid's like fucking like 2, and I'm like, oh yeah.
At 5 p.m. in the morning, Chuck would not have fallen for that.
Yeah,
right now,
5 p.m. in the morning,
falling for it, dude.
All right, guys. So let's get into spinoffs. So, Jose, do you want to give us a little brief description? What is the spinoff for our audience that don't know?
I mean, spinoff, at least the way I view spinoffs, usually is when you have a character in a property, in a movie or a TV show, who isn't the lead. They're kind of usually a side character or a side villain, and they kind of get their own project, their own TV show, their own movie that kind of follows them, where they become the feature on it. So at least that's the way I view a spinoff. I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that.
No, yeah, it's pretty much there. It's like it's a project, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a movie that takes place in the world or reality of some other project franchise usually. So they'll usually do that with a character, but sometimes you can just do like a world, right? And show an entirely different set of characters, sort of like what Game of Thrones is doing. And I know we'll get into examples, but they're doing the same thing. It's not necessarily a character. It's just the world. It's the atmosphere that they painted for us and dealing with a certain family.
Yeah. Or kind of like, it's kind of like basically if you have like a movie or TV show and there's like a character who's not really a main character, and then they kind of get like their own show or movie or property outside of that original one.
Nope, never.
Yeah,
I can't think of one example that ever did that.
One thing I'll push back on you, Dan, is
fight.
Yeah, like with the Game of Thrones that you mentioned. I don't see that as a spinoff. I see that more as a prequel. Because it is set in that world. It's a different time frame telling a different story, and it takes place before the original made content. And I feel things like prequels and sequels can sometimes be confused.
Dude, he's fucking you up right now, dude. Oh my god, dude. Sorry, dude. Go ahead.
Chuck's that guy that like somebody just like goes and like trips a little bit but catches their balance, and he's like, "Oh shit, you just ate shit!" In like high school, and everybody's just like, "The fuck."
Well, you're like, "Oh, excuse me, coming through." You gonna let him push you out of the way like
that? Yeah. You gonna let him do that to you? Get him, Dan. Get him, Dan.
Fuck, dude.
No, but I do feel sometimes like prequels and sequels get confused for spinoffs. But I feel like
but here's my question though. Yeah. I've read stuff where I read stuff where they'll say, "Oh, it's a spinoff," but then it's like it's a prequel. So is that so? The term prequel and spinoff, you're saying they're concrete. They can't be the same thing.
No, they can be the same thing, because if you do a prequel where now you're focusing on a secondary character from the original content, technically you're covering the bases of a prequel and a spinoff. Because I, at least me personally, I view spinoff of we're taking something from this original content, someone in it who wasn't the focus, and we're gonna do something else, putting the focus on them. We're gonna spin off of that into something else. And I use the word, so that means I'm right.
So, like the prequel they did of The Sopranos, that's not a spinoff?
That would be just a prequel. Yeah.
Okay. But Jon Snow getting his own show, because it's not a prequel, that's a spinoff.
That would be a spinoff, because they took a character from in there, and then because even though he's an important character in the Game of Thrones, there's technically not one main character. You just got a bunch of major characters.
The Targaryen show that's coming out, which is set before Game of Thrones, prequel or spinoff?
I guess it would depend who they're covering. If they're covering, because we did see flashbacks of some of those Targaryens within the show. If we're covering one of those characters, we're finding out more about their backstories, then I think that would qualify for both a prequel and a spinoff.
Yeah, see, that's what I meant. I was referring to that show. That's why I was like, well, that's a spinoff prequel, right? So it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can have both. So to you, you're saying a spinoff has to have a character. It can't just be, for instance, The Lord of the Rings, right? You know how The Lord of the Rings is doing their new show. That's not a spinoff?
I don't know anything about the new show, so I don't know if there's a link in characters or anything like that. So I would consider, what's an example? Take for example, Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
The newest one that came out. Mm-hmm. What did they do? They took a character, even though it took place after. It's not a sequel to Suicide Squad. It's a spinoff, because then they took Peacemaker, a character that was in that one, and then they created a show that focused specifically on him. But even though it takes place after the events of Suicide Squad, it's not a sequel to Suicide Squad. It's just a spinoff.
Got it. Okay, because I'm looking at spinoff definition. It says a byproduct or incidental result of a larger project. A product marked by its association with a popular television program, movie, personality, etc. Spin-off merchandising is how the term came about. So
that means the Targaryen show would be a spin-off.
Would be a spin-off. So it means prequel. Anything that's associated with, because it says a product marketed by its association with a popular television. So if you were to do The Walking Dead and it's just set in, I don't know, Australia, that'd be technically a spin-off, even if the characters don't relate. I guess that's what it sounds like. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just curious because
it's a weird blurred line, because technically that would apply to sequels too, and it's like that's not technically a spinoff. Because look at it. Would you guys consider Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift a sequel or a spinoff?
Technically, that should be a spinoff.
Because it's different location, different characters, but it's looked at as a sequel, not a spinoff.
That's what the studio calls it. And I think they called it that just because of marketing. When they put it out there, people are like, oh, it's part 3. I need to go. But isn't it called Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift? Right? It's not called Fast and the Furious 3 Tokyo Drift. So technically,
no, but I mean, they all have their different title. Like there isn't Fast and the Furious 8. It's Fate of the 8 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Fate of the 8 or something like that. They each have like a spin on their title.
Yeah. So technically, that one would technically be it should be considered a spinoff. Now they consider it the Fast and the Furious franchise. So I know they'll say stuff like that, but it's technically not a part 3. Right? Because it's not following the same character. So when you do, for instance, episode 1, 2, and 3, episode 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars, it's not a continue. I mean, it's hard because you have Darth
technically Vader by that definition, it would be a spin-off by that definition.
Yeah, it would be.
Okay, how about this? Okay. How are we gonna define a spin-off? for our audience members listening, when they hear us talking about a spinoff, how are we defining a spinoff?
Chuck, we need your analysis on this.
We'll consider it a spinoff if there's a fucking character who was in the original property that got their own fucking
just
property.
Just character.
Yeah, just a character.
Like Frasier, right? Like Frasier with Cheers.
Like Frasier. Like, that's going to be a spinoff. So, Lord of the Rings, the one before, or whatever the fuck, Targaryens, they're not a fucking spinoff. Those are prequels.
Yeah. Which Walking Dead would work because technically I think the zombies would be that character.
Well, Morgan was in it.
There was one project that didn't have any of the characters, but actually it did have the one that is called The World Beyond. It did have a organization that appears in the original one. So then that would qualify it as a spinoff by our definition.
I would think should that character that's in it be the main character then? Like if they do it like for instance Frasier, the spinoff
should be the focus.
It's his own show.
Yeah, they should be the focus.
So
because if not, it's just a crossover.
So yes. So then in the Walking Dead, technically they're different zombies, right? You can't just say, oh, zombies are the same zombies. Like, well, it's not. It's physically different bodies. So they wouldn't technically count as a reoccurring character, right? But I mean, technically, come on, let's be realistic. It's a spinoff because it's still the exact same type of scenario. It's the same world that they painted. It just takes place somewhere else, right? I'm assuming is that
and sometimes concurrently at the same time too, in the same time frame.
Yeah, added definition, addendum to what I just said. There you go. That works.
Yeah. So it is. Got it. Okay.
What are let's get into some good and some bad examples of spinoffs. What are some good examples of spinoffs that you guys have seen?
I have a good and a bad at the same time.
Okay, well, let's focus on the good.
No, good and bad at the same time. Wolverine. So he was part of the X-Men, and he got spinoffs. He got like three of his own movies, I think, and one of them sucked, and two of them were really good.
One of them was amazing. One of them was okay, and one of them was horrible.
I feel one was amazing, the other one was bad, and then the other one was a disaster.
Yes.
Really? You guys didn't like the Wolverine?
No.
Really? Oh, I thought it was really good.
I mean, if you put it side by side to Wolverine Origins, it seems amazing. But take away Wolverine Origins and just compare it to other things, it's bad. But then Logan ends up being one of the best superhero movies that I've seen, or just movies in general.
Yeah.
So it's talk about a different side of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
A good one for me, I think that wasn't bad was the Bumblebee spinoff.
Bumblebee tuna, yes. The Bumblebee. No, I liked it, man. I'm a fan of Haley Steinfeld. I think she's awesome.
I think that was a good one. They connected it to the original. Mm-hmm. I felt it was better than most of the Transformer movies.
Yeah.
So that was one of my good ones. What about you, Dan? You got a good spinoff?
The Simpsons, man. The Simpsons started off on the Tracy Ullman show. And how many seasons do they even have now? Are they at
past
30?
Yeah.
30 now, right? Gotta be on for 30 years, man.
That show's gonna outlive all of us.
Yeah, 30. It's been 30 years. First appeared Tracy Ullman show. So yeah, man, they've been doing it for a long time. But they have to be probably the most successful, right? I would figure they'd have to be the most successful spinoff ever.
I mean, I would think so. With that longevity is more than most just staple regular shows, never mind spinoffs.
Yeah, and then the whole merchandise, the craze that they had in the 90s, and then they even have, they're in the Universal Studios and out here in Hollywood. Yeah, man.
Did you have a Bartman shirt?
A Bartman shirt? No, I had a Bartman poster.
I had the shirt.
I had a Duff Beer shirt.
Walking around with beer.
Yeah. staying on animation, another good spinoff that I thought was really good was Batman Beyond, spinning off of the Batman Adventures, and that should be in a really good series.
Yeah, I like that one too. My favorite was still Batman the Animated Series. That's still my favorite Batman.
Oh yeah.
But
but the fact that they spun off and ended up being actually really good, even though its longevity wasn't as much.
So if you had to have a spin-off from one of the villains of Batman the Animated Series, who would you want? You look a Man-Bat person. Ra's al Ghul? Chuck? Ra's al Ghul?
Nah, not Ra's
Clayface.
al Ghul. Nah, you know what? Maybe Two-Face, but to see like this whole mob kind of story, because I like mob stuff, right? Like Goodfellas and whatnot. So I think to see like a Goodfellas kind of,
you could see like the whole underground, like
an underground, like mob. Like I think that'd be cool. So
I would take a mini series spinoff of Victor Freeze. I feel like he has a very sympathetic story. He's one of the ones that's not doing it just to be evil. Yeah. Like there's a good intention behind his actions and all, just trying to save his wife. Yeah. So I feel like that'll make for a sympathetic like villain spin-off, but it'll have to be a miniseries. There's only so much you could tell of that story.
Yeah, man. I like Ra's al Ghul. Every time they had him and stuff in there, it was really cool. I liked it. I really like how they did Clayface too. Remember Clayface's storyline there, the actor that had this horrible injury, whatever, and he would get that chemical put on his face and it transform him. Here's another show. I didn't watch it. Heard good things about it. Was Better Call Saul. I love.
That was actually the next one I was going to mention. I was going to be like, Chuck's going to hate this, but Better Call Saul. I watched the first couple of seasons of it. Great spinoff.
Isn't it? Nice. Okay. And it's finishing up, right? Isn't this last season?
I think so. I need to restart and kind of watch it through.
Nice. Yeah. I'll check it out.
You know what was another good one? And it was a Netflix spinoff, but Punisher off of Daredevil. And that ended up being
because he came out in Daredevil season 2 first, right?
Yeah, and then he got his own show. I think because the character was so popular. I know when I was watching Daredevil, I was rooting for Punisher over Daredevil. I'm like, fucking beat his ass. and I like Daredevil in that series, but Punisher's character was just so good. And John Bernthal, one of my favorite actors out there. So I was like definitely rooting for him.
I didn't finish season 2 though, dude. It's too long.
Punisher,
yeah.
Isn't it like 10 episodes?
I don't think so, dude. It's like 12. It just was dragging. It was dragging, dude. They were hanging out in a trailer for like fucking 5 or 6 episodes, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, dude? I didn't finish it.
You need more patience, Chuck.
That's a tool that studios will use a lot. They'll introduce a character for like an episode or two with the intention to spin them off into their own series, right? So sometimes it's a way to kind of gauge how the audience is reacting to them. Sometimes it's a way to kind of practice out their character and see if they have the kinks worked out. If not, they'll retool them. But it's also a great way to introduce the audience, so that way when they see it, it's like, oh, it's blankety blank. So when they brought in Punisher into you said Daredevil, right? He was on the Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil, they probably were ready for him the whole time when he came.
Probably wanted to see how he would catch on. Yeah, because you don't get an actor like that if you don't have a plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you know what's weird for me, at least, is with the Suicide Squad. I didn't like fucking Peacemaker. I thought he was annoying, and it's weird that of all the characters they had there, they gave him his show, which ended up being really good.
Yep.
I know I didn't want to watch it because I fucking hated him, but it was a good show. But you had like Ratcatcher, was that her name? Ratcatcher?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been kind of cool, like who else was in there that would have been good?
They had that would have been good because they had the shark, the Sylvester Stallone, but I didn't want to see a whole.
Yeah, that's a little too much. Maybe Idris, his character might have been okay. I don't know, but
it probably is a mix of the material they can work off of with Peacemaker, and then also the star attraction of a John Cena compared to some of those other characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably mix of both, but Getting into the bad is, I mean, you already mentioned Wolverine, so I won't mention Wolverine, but I think a horrible one was Hobbs and Shaw. I know we mentioned Fast and the Furious earlier, but their Hobbs and Shaw spinoff was terrible.
I never saw it.
More bad than the bad sequels of Fast and the Furious?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would say probably, yeah. At some point. Yeah, no, it was better. I mean, even Idris Elba couldn't save it.
I got a bad off a bad movie. Elektra from Daredevil with Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, I love Ben Affleck, obviously, and I sat through Daredevil and I tried to love it, even the director's cut, but it's not a great movie. Obviously, it's a bad movie. And then you get a bad character from a bad movie and then give her own movie. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's pretty bad because her character sucked in it too. Her character sucked in a sucky ass movie, and then they gave her her own movie. Make it make sense to me, Jose.
No, and then the final results showed why it was a bad idea.
One that I could think of is when they did the Harley Quinn, and remember how they changed the name of that? It was Birds of Prey, then it was Harley Quinn and the Emancipation of Harley. What was it? No, it was Birds of Prey, the Emancipation
of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn. Yeah. I didn't like that movie at all. Did you guys like it? Like, I liked her character.
I was okay with it.
It was okay.
I didn't think it was as horrible as people painted it out to be. People before I watched it, people were talking about it. There's not everyone like it's the worst movie they've seen in years.
No, it was not Five Buttholes.
Yeah, so I thought it was like, all right, this isn't great. I'm entertained in certain parts. It's not something I'll probably watch again, but it was just it was a 6 maybe out of 10 for like me. Maybe 5.5.
C plus. It was okay. It had Ewan McGregor and the other dude in it, Victor Zaz. Yeah, certain
individual characters.
They were both okay. They were both pretty good. That actor's pretty good. He's kind of random in a few things, but he's pretty good. I don't know what his name is, but he's pretty good.
I guess.
What's so funny, dude?
So The Rock is common here, but my next one of bad is actually another Rock one, and it was the Scorpion King, the spinoff of the Mummy.
Man,
that was so bad. That's even just good. The visuals were horrendous. It looked when he turned into the Scorpion King, it looked like it was claymation. That's how unrealistic
that one
looked.
That one was on the Mummy though. Wait, when he was like where his head was on a scorpion body.
Yeah,
that was the Mummy. Yeah, part 2, right? It was part 2. That was part 2.
Yeah,
it was awful, man.
Oh, it was so bad. And wasn't that like his introduction to movies? That's like his first movie.
I think so. Yeah,
his first one was the Mummy one. Yeah. It was the Mummy.
Yeah, no, that was horrible.
I don't know what you guys think, but I love the Mummy. I loved Brendan Fraser back in the day, dude. So
the first two. The third one, that's the one with Jet Li, I think, right? That one was Jet Li. I think by then it was like, all right, this franchise, it's exhausting.
He's coming back though. He's in a movie with somebody, Brendan Fraser. He's with like a good director, and he's got something coming up.
He's been doing the Doom Patrol, the recommendations from the other episode. Doom Patrol.
Nobody watches Doom
he's
Patrol,
one of the characters. Plenty of people watch.
Yeah, well, we also know what else Jose watches. So he watches everything on the C-Dub. So
I wanted to ask you guys a question because we were talking about The Rock and being this movie star, and this is off topic, but do you think he has he's been trying to position his career sort of like an Arnold, right? Is that fair? You're trying to be, an action star. It's a event to go watch a movie. It's high pace, fast action, all that stuff. But Arnold Schwarzenegger had so many iconic movie roles. Between like Terminator, like there's so many iconic movies he's been in. The Rock hasn't quite had that yet, right?
Have you not seen The Tooth Fairy?
Exactly. Yeah. What was the one where he was a football player? It was the game
Gridiron Gang.
No, not that one. It's the one where he was like a quarterback or something. You know what I'm talking about with his little daughter?
Yeah. I was actually I was background. I was background on that back
Were
in
you?
Massachusetts. Yeah, I was
I think it was like
background on
Game
that.
Changer or
It was
something
at
like
Gillette
that.
Stadium
That's funny, man.
where they did it.
Yeah,
No,
big
It
actor.
was the Tooth Fairy?
No,
No.
that's a
no.
different
This is
one.
before that. The game plan, I
The
think.
Game Plan. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
okay.
one.
No, I hear what you're saying. That he doesn't have that iconic role you remember, like Schwarzenegger did, but something that he can hold on to is I feel he was part of revitalizing two franchises. They were kind of on the downturn, and when he joined,
Yep.
they kind of got better.
Yeah.
So Fast and the Furious was an example of it. You had that was after the first one was kind of on a downturn. Then he ended up joining it, and there was like Spice, which is why Vin Diesel probably keeps begging him to come back, is because he was part of revitalizing that series.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one?
I mean, I can't think of the other one right now.
The franchise.
Oh, Jumanji.
There was another
Jumanji.
Oh yeah, Jumanji was another thing. So that's been pretty good. I think actually he joined the second G.I. Joe, and that was better than the first. So I think they actually could have continued that because the quality did go up from the first one. But he's got that. When he does join a project, at least when it comes to audience, there is an improvement.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the point that I'm making is I like The Rock. I like what he does to the movies. He definitely does bring in some good energy to it. It's unfortunate because I haven't seen that type of iconic role yet. You know what I mean? And I know I'm sure it's coming. I don't think it's going to be Black Adam.
The trailer didn't do it for me. I like the character of Black Adam. Hopefully, it's just one of those things where the trailer doesn't do the movie justice.
Yeah. It's his flying, man. He looks weird, like no cape, and he's just flying, and he just looks so uncomfortable when he's flying.
And he doesn't have any hair. You know what I mean? At least maybe if he had hair, it could be like blowing in the wind, but it looks like he's just
a naked mole rat. He's a big naked mole rat flying through the air.
Yeah, but it doesn't even look like he's flying. It just looks like he's suspended in air and like
green screen.
That's it. No cape in air. Yeah, it looks weird.
Yeah, it does. It didn't look too good, man. I think
he's like Neo. Like when he flew, he had a coat.
Yeah,
and he got hair.
You need
and he had hair. Yeah.
One more that I have here was actually Annabelle. But that's just that's a common thing of the whole Conjuring universe is good main series, terrible spin-offs, and the Annabelle was no different. It was not good or entertaining, and then the second one ended up being actually worse than the first one.
Yeah. And they also did the Nun too. They did the
Nun. The Nun, I think La Llorona is part of it. That Conjuring universe, the spin-offs are all shit. It's the main series is what holds it together.
Yeah.
And I think because the spin-offs they try to do too much similar to the main series. They try to do the same type of scares, and it's not the same director of the original series. So it's other directors emulating the stuff that the director of the Conjuring does. And it doesn't come off as good.
All right. So now upcoming spinoffs that we have coming out. You guys have anything?
There's a couple. We actually spoke already about two of them, so I won't even mention. We spoke about the Jon Snow spinoff on there. But I know you have the Arkham series that's coming out, which is spinning off of the Batman. And then you also have on the Marvel side, you have Echo, which is spinning off of the Hawkeye series.
Hawkeye? What Hawkeye?
Check out real interested.
He's like, what? Ryan Gosling? What?
Ryan Gosling? Wait, he's getting into some Ken spinoff? What?
So do you guys have any specific TV characters, movie characters you want to see as a spinoff? And would you want to see it in a movie form, limited series, or a television show?
I had two from a past project and from a newer project. The first one, I would have loved to have had a Doc Holliday spinoff from Tombstone. I just love that character.
So the Val Kilmer version, right? The Val Kilmer interpretation.
Yes, I would have loved to, just because that character was so great. Just kind of get like a prequel like spinoff like to that character. And then for just kind of a newer project is, have you guys seen the new James Bond? The last one? Did have it? Oh, okay. Well, there's a character in there called Paloma, and she was really good. But she's in it for like 25 minutes, and then like you never see her again. But she was a really good character. So it was like, oh, she's, you know, kind of like the female James Bond. So would have loved to have seen more from her.
One that I had was Peter Parker in Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. You know, if we get a spinoff of him going back to his home, you know, timeline, and he's still fat, old, out of shape Spider-Man, but he's got to save the world, that'd be kind of funny to watch, man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one.
That's okay. That's okay.
You just downgraded it just because you don't like the way that Jose.
I know, it's because I thought mine was cool and you didn't say shit, so you didn't even say anything. No, you didn't.
I did. I just said I would hope that he talked, because otherwise, if he's muted and it hurts.
Yeah, I feel like you took a shot at me a little bit, but it's fine.
I mean, I think
talks, maybe it'd be cool. Good one.
I think I heard that's a shitty idea.
That's what I heard too. Under his fucking shades, I heard it's a shitty ass idea. Watch, mine's better. I just looked it up right now.
Yeah. I had disappointment eyes. You just couldn't see him with the shades. Yeah. But all right, guys, what's on the queue? What do you want to recommend to our audience?
Watch Logan if you haven't seen it for some reason, since it's a spinoff. That's it. Okay. See? You guys don't say shit. Oh, were you supposed to go, Jose? Is that why you're mad? You're not saying anything?
No, I was trying to think of my own queue.
Okay. I'll say one. So I have a movie that I just started watching that was really cool. It's not spinoff related or anything, but it's
Baby Boy. Yeah.
I did see that. But I'm actually going to recommend RRR. Have you guys seen that one? It's on Netflix. It's that Hindi movie.
RRR.
It's 3 hours in a row. It's like over-the-top action. It's so ridiculous, but it's so stylistic. It's interesting, man. It's I dig it. It's 3 hours long, though, so I had to give myself an intermission. So I saw half of it, gave it a break, and then I have to go back and finish it. But really good action. Way over the top. I like it.
Okay. All right.
That's a shitty idea.
I would pick one. I'll go with one that I'll go with one that I already mentioned, just because it's such a good series. You know, everyone should watch it. Is The Punisher. I should hopefully be hitting Disney soon. Again, whether they're going to censor it or not, we'll see. But if they don't, that's a good one to give a try.
All right, perfect. Okay.
So shitty idea too.
Chuck, why don't you go ahead and lead us out with where people can follow us at? Where can they see us?
You can follow us on Instagram at Not a Strong Start. You could follow Jose at This Is Mi Nombre. You can follow Dan at King_Sangre at IG. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Or and Twitter. Or Twitter, yeah. You can follow me at Chad Radwell.
12. And where can they watch us at?
They can watch us on YouTube, and they can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, or Apple Podcasts.
Yay, we did it. Thanks for watching this exciting episode.
Make sure you guys catch me in my spin-off podcast, because I'm tired of Chuck's shit.
And it immediately just blows up, and it's like, oh, we were the weaklings. Got it.
Yeah.
Noted.